Good day, everyone. Today I'll be talking about diversity and cultural clash. Now, diversity and cultural clash, it's something that has existed for years. Ever since man was on this earth, there have been times where they disagree with each other in terms of ideology or social status, and that has brought about sometimes a lot of changes, and sometimes little to no change due to these arguments and disagreements. Diversity is something that exists very evidently even presently today. Each of us is different. We have different views on politics, on culture, and we have different tastes and different likes. This forms the basis of diversity. Now, for my work, I'm going to be looking at Paris at two different times. One at 1789 and Paris in 1871. And I'm going to be talking about two different events, very historically important to France and the people, specifically the people of Paris. And first, I'm going to begin with the storming of the Bastille. That was in 1789. So during the French Revolution, there was a lot of anger and conflict between the different social classes in the Parisian and French society. The people wanted a better life, they wanted more equality, and they wanted better treatment from their leaders. Now, the storming of the Bastille is going to go on in history to spark more revolutions in French history. The storming of the Bastille took place in 1789, and after the Parisians took control of some weapons, they needed gunpowder for their weapons, and this gunpowder was being stored in a large prison known as the Bastille, spelled Bastille, Bastille. So they approached this prison and they had to fight against it as a fight against the governor who was in charge of this prison. A huge conflict broke out, and this was fueled by the anger of the citizens against the aristocratic government that they had. They eventually won, but not without casualties, and they took control of the Bastille, taking everything they wanted: documents, gunpowder, and all the sorts. Eventually, the governor of the Bastille was beheaded, and his wife also, and that also sparked series of beheadings in French history. Now, from there, we see that there was a difference or diversity in ideology on who and how should the ruling go in the French society at that time. That right there depicts diversity, and sometimes diversity can lead to conflict. These diverse views in the French society of 1789 led to anger and conflict, and hence the beheading of so many aristocrats. That is just one of the many happenings of diversity and its results. Okay, next I will be talking about the Siege of Paris, which happened in 1871. This was a very important war in that it caused the unification of some people. It also caused a great division in some areas of Europe. It marked the end of the Franco-Prussian Wars, and it was a very devastating war for the Parisians. Now, the war was caused by different views on the politics of Spain, and since the Queen of Spain was removed, um, the governor or the king of Prussia wanted someone that he chose to be the ruler of Spain. in a man known as Leopold. Now, the French did not want this, as then they will be surrounded by two Prussian allies, thereby putting them in a vulnerable place. This led to a disagreement and then a war. There were a lot of battles which caused the divided city states or divided states of now current Germany to unite together in with the Prussians and to fight against the French. Now, the French eventually lost many wars, and their lack of personnel made it easy for the Prussians to rush forward and occupy France. Now, they laid siege on Paris for a long while, leaving the people of Paris devastated, hungry, impoverished. Disease was in their camps, and there was a lot of suffering. All these are results that we can see when conflicts get out of hand. In the end, the Paris Commune was signed and there was finally peace brought to the French. They had to pay huge indemnities. But from these two stories, we compare Paris at two different times. At one time, they succeeded in their wars. A set of people succeeded in removing aristocratic governors. And while at another time, they lost devastatingly, leaving them poor and impoverished. I believe what we should take note of there is that diversity has always existed and will continue to exist into the far future. It is how we handle this diversity that shows or that reflects on our lives. We should try our best to handle diversity without conflict. Thank you very much.